All right, please join me in Gasho for the chanting of the Sambujo. Namo Amidabuts. Namo Amidabuts. Namo Amidabuts. Naman Dabuts. Naman Dabuts. Naman Dabuts. Bejo Minanyorai Ni no Jo Sange La Aku Bujo Shaka Nyorai Ni no Jo Sange Aku Bujo Jipo Nyorai Ni no Jo Sange La Namandavats, 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 namandavats. So if you could please join me in the reading of our pledge by the Monshu Kojun Otani. Breaking out of my shell, I will share a warm smile and speak gentle words, just like the kind Buddha. Not becoming lost in my greed, anger, and ignorance, I shall think and act with an open mind, just like the calm and peaceful Buddha. Not putting myself first, I will share in the joy and sadness of others, just like the compassionate Buddha. Realizing the gift of life I have received, I shall strive to live each day to its fullest, like the Buddha, who tirelessly works to liberate all. Namo Amidabutsu. Namo Amidabutsu. Namo Amidabutsu. Namandabutsu. 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 So now I would like to introduce Reverend Marvin Harada, Bishop of the BCA. We're very lucky to have him today. He will lead us in the chanting of the Junirai, and then give a Dharma message. Thank you, Sensei.
Keshu Tennin Shokugyo Amida Senryo Zokuson Zaihi Mimeu Anrakok Muryo Bushi Shuineu Konjiki Shinjo Nyosen no Shamata Gyo Nyozobu Ryomokujo Nyakusho Renge Koga Chorai Midason Menzen Enjo Nyomangatsu Iko Yunyo Sennichi Gatsu Shonyo Tenku Kushira Koga Chorai Midason Kannon Chodai Kanchuju Shuju Me Uso Shogun Nobukuge Doma Keuman Oga Chorai Midason Mubi Muku Koshojo Shutoku Keuketsu Nyokoku Shosari Yakutoku Jizai Koga Chorai Midason Jipo Myomon Osashu Muryo Shomajo Sandan Isho Shujo Gan Nikiju Koga Chorai Midason Kontai Hoken Chishoke Zengon Shoujo Meudaiza Ohiza Jonyo Senno Koga Chorai Midason Jipo Shorai Shobushi Kengen Jinzu Shi Andak Sengo Songen Jokugyo Koga Chorai Midason Shou Mujo Mugato Yakunyo Suigatsu Den Yoro Ishu Seppo Mumyoji Koga Chorai Midason Ison Bu Setsumu Akumyo Yakumu Nyonin Akudofu Shuni Shishi Kyo Hisot Koga Chorai Midason Ison Muryo Benkyo Musho Shuaku Chishik Hojo Futai Shibodai Koga Chorai Midason Gasetsu Hison Kudokuji Shuzen Muhen Yokai Sui Shogyaku Zengon Shoujo Sha Eseshu しく読平等性際ど本母大師往生あんあこSaman, David, Saman, David, Saman, David, Saman, David, Saman, David. It's my pleasure now to give a short message. If Brian, you could go ahead and put up the first slide. So today's conference is meeting the challenges of today's Dharma school. I'm not going to address the conference as a theme. I'll leave that for our wonderful guest speaker, Piper Toyama. Next slide. So I'd like to just focus on Dharma school as one of the key strengths of Shin Buddhism. Next slide. Oh, I think you went backwards. Yes, okay. So Shin Buddhism is really family-friendly Buddhism. And that's one of our key strengths that other Buddhist traditions really cannot offer like we can. Next slide. So I'd like to share one episode of an OCBC family that joined us some years ago, non-Nikkei family. The wife was very involved in Zen Buddhism. And then she got married and had a family and wanted to find somewhere that the whole family could go to. She couldn't take her child to the Zen temple. So she Googled family friendly Buddhism in Orange County. And somehow our website, OCBC website, came up first. So she thought, oh, this looks interesting. And that's how they got started. So to be family friendly is one of our strengths of Shin Buddhism. Next slide. So you can't take your 5-year-old with you to a Zen temple to do Zazen for 2 or 3 hours. Next slide. If a 9-year-old wants to learn about Theravadan Buddhism, they have to become a novice monk and leave their home and family. That's the tradition in, for example, Sri Lanka. Next slide. You know, the Dalai Lama is immensely popular, but real Tibetan Buddhism is not family friendly. You have to become a monk and you have to do austere practices in a monastery. Next slide. So if a night, oh, I think you went backwards again. Yes, okay. So for decades, we've been offering family-friendly Buddhism in our Shin Buddhist tradition. You know, many of you attending today, you've been attending your entire lives since infancy, and you will most likely attend until the very end of your life. Next slide. So we have 1-year-olds and we have 100-year-olds in our sanghas. Not many other Buddhist traditions can say that. Next slide. So Shin Buddhism is also for those who don't have families, who are single, but in our sanghas, they can find a true family, a true community, a true sense of belonging. Next slide. So nowadays, we find many people, they have strained relationships with their families, and they're looking for a sense of belonging. They long to be part of a family. We kind of take that sense of belonging for granted, but it's a major strength of what we have to offer. Next slide. You know, sometimes we've all experienced this. We're in a service and we're annoyed by the sound of a crying infant in the hondo during the service, and we think, gee, how come they don't take their kid out to the lobby or something? But once I heard a minister, a teacher in Japan say that a hondo that doesn't have the sound of a crying infant is a temple that doesn't have a future. Isn't that really a true statement? Next slide. So what we offer with Dharma School, Buddhist education for young people, it's a very important component in the future of the spread of Shin Buddhism in the West. We need to emphasize it more in how we present ourselves to the general public. Next slide. So hats off to all Dharma school teachers for your dedication in sharing the Dharma with young people, for providing this important component of what Shin Buddhism has to offer the general public. My accolades and commendation to all of you for serving as Dharma school teachers. Next slide. So this is a Buddhist expression that you probably heard at past teacher conferences, Jishin Kyonin Shin, which when translated means to have Shinjin or spiritual realization and to teach that Shinjin or spiritual realization to others. It's a passage from the writings of Shandao or Zendo. We've had it as a theme for Dharma School Teachers Conference for some years in the past. Next slide. So I would like to suggest that we reverse the order of this passage and instead read it as teaching Shinjin or teaching the Dharma, as all of you do. That's what enables us to realize Shinjin or the Dharma in our own life. In other words, to teach is to truly learn. To teach is to truly learn. In serving as a Dharma school teacher, we are all given this opportunity to truly learn and receive the Dharma from our students, from our search and preparation for our lessons, and in our sharing. And the final slide. Thank you very much.
Oh, Seiju,
Yeah.
you have to unmute yourself.
I thought I did. I'm sorry. Thank you, Bishop Harada, for highlighting the strength of our Jodo Shinshu tradition and its connection to family. It just puts more emphasis on the importance of today's events. I would like to next introduce Reverend Dr. Wandra, our OCBC minister, resident minister, to recite Shin Buddhist life principles.
The Shin Buddhist life principles. Okay, let's read it together. Entrusting the vow of the Buddha, calling out the Buddha's name, I will pass through the journey of life with strength and joy. Revering the light of the Buddha, reflecting upon my imperfect self, I will strive to live a life of gratitude. Following the teaching of the Buddha, discerning the right path, I will share the true Dharma with all. Rejoicing the compassion of the Buddha, respecting the aiding all sentient beings, I will work toward the welfare of society in the world. 준비 가시죠, please. 나모 아미다 부츠, 나모 아미다 부츠, 나모 아미다 부츠, 나만다 부츠, 나만다 부츠.